Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Scarlet Spider from the Spooder wave of Marvel Legends. And this figure is not necessarily a needed update for a figure that we got not that long ago, but it is definitely an update and it does some things really nicely, so I think a lot of people are going to be very happy about that. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. And this guy stands just about 16.5 centimeters, which makes him just about 6.5 inches. And he's got that new body, which is not new anymore, but it was new a little bit ago. And it's mostly pretty good. It does have a few issues, but overall it's a pretty nice sculpt. The figure that this one is competing with is this one, which is one of the oldest molds from Hasbro and is clearly not very good. We have some parts on it that are nice, and they're actually newer versions of this sculpt rather than, like, the torso is really old, like old. But then we have like the forearm and the lower legs, which are actually really nice, and the feet. Speaking of the feet, let's talk about the feet for an instant, for a moment. In the comics, we often get pointy feet, and that's fine. But I kind of like this version instead, where it's not quite pointy, but it's clearly not a boot. It's still like a soft sole type of thing. What do you guys think? What's your personal take on it? Obviously, for different characters, it'll be more accurate or not. But if you had to choose, which one would you like? Because obviously, we're looking at the same character. I'm kind of partial to the more realistic shape as opposed to the pointy shape. But it doesn't matter. That's an aside based on personal preference. Anyway, the paint jobs are relatively equal. They both have the same issues with line work and filling, and then for the back you have translucent spider legs and translucent spider body, so that's really not a big deal. The heads are questionably different. This one's kind of a goofy looking head, but has some weird issue with the eyes being incredibly sunken in. And this one has much smaller eyes, but they're still incredibly sunken in. Like, if that's a person wearing a mask, which I'm not the biggest Spider-Man buff, but since we get a head like this, I'm guessing it's a person wearing a mask. His eyes would not fit on his head, because these Spider-Man eyes, like, the mask is fitting to his face. You can tell by the nose. But the Spider-Man eyes are, like, into his skull, so it's a little bit of a weird sculpt. It's definitely better than the old one, though, as far as I'm concerned. I like it, so that's okay. And then size-wise, well, they're pretty close. The new one's a little bit bigger, and definitely better overall sculpt. So this is easily the one to go with if you're trying to get one of these figures. I think this is the way to go. Now, as far as accessories go, this guy has two fist hands, and then a fist hand with a spiky stinger thingy, I guess. I have no idea what that is. And then we have an open hand with one of those things as well. And those hands are made out of a soft plastic because of the spikes on them. The hinge on the fist one works okay. The hinge on the other hand is kind of loose, but it's not too bad. And then, as you saw, we do have the alternate head, which is a Peter Parker head we saw before, but now it's kind of muted out and has the weird looking eyes, so that's kind of cool. I like that they included that. As far as articulation goes on this guy, the head can lean back no problem. It leans forward no problem. All the way around. Really no issues there. The head sits nicely. We have a beautiful butterfly joint, which works wonderfully. It's kind of loose on this guy, but it still works well, so that's alright. We do have our standard ball hinge for the shoulder. Little tricky, and one of the things on this guy is he's kind of like bulbous looking. The pieces don't necessarily flow together wonderfully, but it's not too bad. Like, the shoulder's really round, bicep area is kind of really round. It's not a big deal. It's not a problem at all. In fact, the old Wolverine used to have that, and they kind of fixed it with this one. You see how the arms just kind of look a little bit more natural as opposed to the more segmented look? Anyway, it's not a big deal. It's just something worth mentioning. Still get your bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, which works no problem at all. You have your wrist swivel and your hinge. Same thing on the other side. Ab crunch works, but you do end up with that pot belly because the hinge is so low. Leans forward, no problem. Kind of get a pot back, but it's not that big of a deal. Waist twist. Uh-oh. I can't do it. My waist twist will not move. I'm kind of a strong person, and I can't get it to move, so that's not good. Hips do go all the way forward, not really too far back. Going out to the side is very limited, not even 45 degrees. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, that's all fine. Shin swivel, which is the best shin swivel they've ever done. If you run your fingers along it, you can't even tell it's a split, so that's really nice. You get a decent hinge going forward and back, and then you get one of their best ankle rockers. So overall, it's a really solid release. A couple questionable issues, but nothing that is anywhere near deal-breaking. So I have to say I recommend it. It's a really, really nice release. Hopefully you don't get one with a spot on his stomach and a frozen waist twist. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up almost every single day. We talk about action figures, play video games, do sculpting, review movies, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.